The second part of this requirement is lawful consideration. Consideration should not be unlawful. If the consideration becomes unlawful, the contract again becomes void. But it is important to understand what is unlawful consideration. Like unlawful object, the contract became void. Here also, unlawful consideration, the contract becomes void. But there is a thin line which separates object from consideration. Object means the purpose of the contract. However, consideration means what you get in return. Now, this what can be some profit, some benefit, something like salary. It can be in any form, any kind of profits, returns, benefits, salaries, or any kind of incomes arising to you will form consideration in a contract. You do something in a contract, and what you get in return becomes your consideration. So it can be in any form. Now, this profit, this benefit, this salary needs to be lawful. Now, how can profits be unlawful? How can a salary be unlawful? How can something that you get in return be unlawful? We have understood that object can be unlawful. But how can something that you get in return be unlawful? I'll give you an example. This was the question that I asked you earlier, that you have kept a house help, you kept a maid, and you ask him to do the household chores. And against those household chores, as a consideration for those works that she will do in your house, you give her a pistol. Now, please bear in mind that the object of the contract is legal here. You can always employ a maid to do your household work, to help you in your household work. So the object is pretty much legal and lawful here. However, what you are giving her is not something which is lawful or legal. The consideration here is not lawful. You cannot give arms to anybody. You cannot give a pistol in return for doing a household work. That is not allowed by law. So the consideration here is unlawful. However, the object remains lawful. If the object is lawful, the contract is valid. But in this case, along with the object, you need the consideration also to be lawful. The consideration in this case is not lawful, it is unlawful, and thus, even though the object is lawful, the contract will become void. I'll give you one more example on this. You go to purchase a car. You want to purchase a car. So, the object here is pretty much legal, it is lawful. Purchasing a car is okay with law, it is a legal thing to do. However, you tell the seller of the car that you'll pay him from your black money. That is the money which has not been taxed. You have not paid tax on that money. So that money becomes black money, and you cannot pay black money to anybody. That is prohibited by law. So you tell him that you will give him black money. So this also becomes an unlawful consideration. See, the object here is again lawful. Purchasing a car is a lawful thing to do. The object of the contract is to purchase a car. That is legal, that is lawful. However, the consideration that you will be giving will be unlawful. You cannot give black money to anybody. At first place, you should not have black money. All your incomes should be taxed. So the consideration there would be illegal. And since the consideration is illegal or unlawful, because you are paying black money, the contract would be void. In consideration, we have normally two things. We have to check if the consideration comes from legal sources or illegal sources. There can be a contract wherein the consideration that you are getting has both the elements. It is coming from legal source also, it is coming from illegal source also. I'll just give you an example. A and B. These are the two persons. A has given his house on rent to B, and B pays rent to A. Let's say it is 10,000 rupees. Now this house has two rooms. First room is used by A to live, to stay there, to sleep there, to do whatever he wants. Second room he uses for gambling. The first room is used by A to stay there. The second room is used by him for gambling. Now you can see that renting a house is actually lawful. There's nothing wrong in it. However, the rent that is coming, it is coming from two rooms. The first room and the second room. Let's say the rent for first room is 5,000, the rent for second room is 5,000. Now if we can break this rent into two parts, that is 5,000 for first room, 5,000 for second room, then we can say that this leg is illegal and this leg is legal. The room which he uses to stay is okay, that is lawful, that is legal. However, the room that he uses to run a gambling den, that is illegal. So we can say that in this contract, the 5,000 rupees that he gets for the first room will be considered as a legal contract. However, the 5,000 that he gets from the other room will be an illegal contract. So in this case, it was possible for us to break the contract. Let's say we cannot break the contract. The contract is inseparable or indivisible. The rent that he is getting as 10,000 is from one room only, and the same room he uses to stay, to sleep at night, and during the day he uses it as a gambling den. Now what? Now we cannot separate the contract. We cannot get the legal part and the illegal part in the contract. In this case, whole of the contract will be considered as illegal, and thence it will become void because it is illegal. So you have to remember two things. First, is the contract separable? That is, can you separate legal and illegal parts in it? If no, the contract becomes illegal and thus void. However, if you can separate legal and illegal parts, the illegal part of the contract will become void the legal part of the contract will remain valid. So this is pretty important to understand and remember from the examination point of view, because this question has been asked quite a few times in the exams. So we have covered unlawful object and unlawful consideration. We said the object and consideration both need to be lawful to make the contract valid, because these are the two essential requirements of a valid contract. We move ahead